Good morning, Trump family. Thank you for joining me. God bless each and every one of you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on that notifications bell so you don't miss a thing. Alright, the following is a collection of news from Patriots. Let's get into the news this Monday morning. I wonder how long these leftovers are going to be able to sustain the chaos. You know, the one word that I constantly use to describe Democrat policies and just the whole the Democrats' situation of governance currently is unsustainable. Their practices when it comes to money and monetary policy. Practicing a basic budget is clearly unsustainable, but culturally, in terms of how they handle crime and cultural issues, that is truly unsustainable. How much longer can you sustain the chaos and keep telling yourself this is working? We're doing great. How much more can you take it, especially when you can't even go outside anymore? How long are the people and even the politicians going to be able to handle walking through homeless encampments, stepping over feces and syringes, and being at risk of being violently assaulted by crazed lunatics on the streets who keep getting re-released over and over again from the judicial system? How long will they be able to take the chaos before they realize they've made a very serious, grave mistake? Well, once again, folks, a Democrat politician, I guess in a way, is forced to confront the reality of their own policies in Washington, D.C., a very left-wing Democrat stronghold. All right, folks. Take a look at this headline from the New York Post. Police arrest homeless man accused of assaulting Representative Angie Craig. Police in Washington, D.C. have arrested a homeless man who they say punched Representative Angie Craig, Democrat from Minnesota, and grabbed her by the neck inside the elevator of her apartment building. Kendrick Hamlin, also known as Hamlin Khalil Hanlon, was charged with simple assault over the Thursday morning attack. The Metropolitan Police Department said in a press release Thursday night Hamlin, 26, was reportedly acting erratic in the lobby of Craig's Northeast D.C. building before he entered the elevator with her and allegedly assaulted the congresswoman. According to a police report, Hamlin reportedly did push-ups inside the elevator before he punched Craig 50 once in the chin and grabbed her neck. The report said, adding that the third-term member of the House defended herself by tossing hot coffee at the man. Representative Craig defended herself from the attacker, and suffering bruising but is otherwise physically okay. Craig's chief of staff Nick Coe said in the statement on Thursday, there is no evidence that the incident was politically motivated. He added, well, of course, it wasn't politically motivated. But it certainly is political. In a way, Democrats' cities have been out of control. People know this. In New York and California alone over the last 2-3 years, the amount of video evidence of random assaults that we have seen from crazed lunatics being allowed back on the streets to reoffend because of the revolving door of the new bail reform legal system. We've seen it all, and people clearly don't feel safe anymore. But now it's gotten to a point where even politicians can't deny it, can't ignore it anymore, because they're now getting assaulted. This isn't the first example of this. I think it was during the California governor recall election where Gavin Newsom was assaulted by a crazed homeless person while simply walking with a news crew in Oakland. That happened not too long ago. There's probably other examples. Nancy Pelosi, his husband, Paul Pelosi, for instance, a crazed lunatic living in some hippie commune, clearly homeless, breaks into Pulpus's home and assaulted with a hammer, and now we have another Democrat politician being assaulted by another homeless crazed lunatic after doing a push-ups in her elevator and roaming about in her building illegally trespassing. These Democrats' strongholds are completely out of control. And I get it, yada, 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 compassion, people with mental illness, homeless people, but something has to be done at some point. It's not compassionate to let mentally ill, crazed individuals free to roam around the street and assault random civilians. That's not compassionate. That's basic negligence. That's leaving law-abiding citizens to the mercy of mentally unstable, deranged drug, meth, psychosis, schizophrenia acts. That's not compassion. That's just frankly stupid. And at one point is this false virtue that we're seeing from Democrats, we're going to come to an end because clearly it's not sustainable. At what point are Democrat voters going to realize that they screwed up and start to enable the pendulum shift? How many more people have to be randomly assaulted on the streets for people to realize that these policies aren't working? These policies of enabling, and that's exactly what it is, their policies of enabling. Actually, here's the perfect example from the Antifa hellscape. That is Portland. The homeless people themselves are essentially telling you how easy it is for them to just exist on the streets and do whatever they want, because the city enables them, because Democrat politicians enable them. Everyone listen to this. So how's it like being homeless? It's a piece of cake, really. I mean, that's why you probably got so many out here, because they feed you 3 meals a day. You don't have to but stay in your tent or party or your feed smoked a lot of dope. You can do that. What else? What else? Melissa, what else I say? I'm being interviewed. So that's really it. It's like you wake up, you go to Blanche J, go you blend, save her lunch, get high, going dinner, get high. And that's how you do all day long every day. I'm being honest. Okay folks, you know, we just live during the night, we get 3 meals a day, we can camp on the streets all we want and just do drugs all day long, is basically a homeless person's paradise. Do whatever you want, live wherever you want, do whatever drugs that you want. And we'll keep feeding you and enabling you and giving you your paraphernalia and wasting taxpayer dollars on these ridiculous, drug use incentive programs that come with the dangerous side effect or consequence of crazed lunatics on the street assaulting random civilians on. It's complete craziness. It's absolute friggin' lunacy. And the only way that it's going to stop, the only way that these policies are going to end, are if Democrats themselves get tired of it. I'm not sure where they're just yet. It seems like Democrats' cities are doubling down in many cases. For instance, San Francisco is now mulling the idea of legalizing prostitution on the streets. A city supervisor is now pushing for it. Could a red light district for sex work happened in San Francisco? And so it seems as though the question is being asked, could we delve even deeper into degeneracy in the San Francisco responses? You haven't seen nothing yet? The best description that I've seen so far of Democrats, cities of major Democratic metropolitan areas, as outdoor, open-air mental asylums. And that's exactly what it feels like. And these crazy Democrats are doubling down, and the voters themselves seem to be doubling and tripling down. They keep voting for the same policies over and over again. And the over-the-top crazy part is that even some of the Democrat voters who are sick of all the craziness, sick of living in these crazy Democrat environments, and are choosing to flee the state of California and move somewhere else. In many cases, at least a good chunk of them, at least the Democrat chunk of those voters that are fleeing places like California, seem to leave those policies and then to vote and try to implement the exact same policies in the cities or towns that they're fleeing to. Austin, Texas is a great example. So many left-wing California Democrats have fled to Texas only to move in Austin, Texas, and to basically implement the same type of crazy delusional Democrat policies. We covered a story a long time ago. I think it might have been a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago, of a massive homeless encampment with machete-wielding homeless men walking around outside Austin City Hall. By the way, a problem that continues to plague Austin, Texas. And another day, another Democrat, indicted and charged, this time with laundering money in Boston. Boston's mayor, Boston mayor's finance director, charged with money laundering in prison smuggling scheme. So we have an individual who served as a longtime Boston Democratic political activists. Community organizer, appeared in Woburn Superior Court along with 2 co-defendants, both of whom were facing charges of conspiring to smuggle certain, let's say, illegal products, narcotics, you can say, into the law, the facility into prison. So you have a situation. This is Boston 25 News. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu's office. She worked as the finance director in the Boston Mayor's Michelle Wu's office, arraigned on Friday on these charges. Not a word from media in general. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm reading from Boston 25 News. And here's a WCVB5 Boston article. This is an ABC affiliate. Boston Mayor's administration and finance director charged with laundering. The administration and finance director in Boston Mayor's Michelle Wu's office is on unpaid administrative leave, facing 2 charges. The individual was indicted by a grand jury on December 15, and 1 count of money laundering and another count of conspiring to commit a criminal act. She was arraigned on Friday, entered a plea of not guilty, and released on personal recognizance. So this has taken place throughout the country in the past couple of years. Ladies and gentlemen, a great many Democrats that I've read from public record knowledge have been indicted, charged for this type of criminal act. The campaign donations suddenly make their way into different areas. So on a different note, you had AOC, for example, who had corporations and political action committees working with him, each other, I shouldn't say, funneling money from the corporation to the PAC, or that's from the PAC to the corporation. And of course, they defended that. But that was very likely a federal and FEC violation, according to former FCC chairman. So the Washington Examiner broke that story. And that has yet to be resolved. That is still a very bizarre state of affairs between AOC and her political action committee and her the corporations when she first started off. Interestingly enough, two very, very famous pundits with really large channels, 4 million subs, had a lot to do with AOC starting off. Perhaps know something about those PACs and those corporations. But anyway, the individual is one of multiple defendants charged in the case, with several others accused of delivering narcotics to prisoners in a Massachusetts correctional institution or jail. Wow. So this is really interesting. And this is the finance director for Boston's mayor, obviously, Democratic mayor, so you have a situation where the finance director, the person in charge of finance, money, fundraising, may be appropriating funds throughout the city, or the budget of the city, or the administration finance direct. Okay, so money going into the mayor's office, from fundraising from the Democratic Party in Boston, or Massachusetts, or throughout the country. This person has access to a great deal of money, and look what's taking place. The money is not going to where it should. It's going to funnel a whole bunch of things to prisoners in correctional facilities and jails. Ladies and gentlemen. Quote, the city was made aware of these allegations Thursday evening. A written statement from a Boston City spokesperson said. So this is a huge deal. The individual is an honorable and dedicated public servant and deeply valued member of the community. A written statement from her attorney. She has been a selfless advocate for those in need for decades. She has been wrongfully charged. The facts of the case will speak the truth? Well, here's what takes place. And I've seen this oftentimes in major cities run by Democrats. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Give me your thoughts below and hit subscribe.